I'm Alex from SumoQuote. I'm here to kind of do a little bit of a breakdown on some numbers here, but really the intention behind this is I talk to hundreds and hundreds of roofing companies, and one of the main conversations that I have with guys stems around a general misunderstanding of the key numbers that impact their business. So I think a good exercise for guys to go through, whether it's at the start of their year, of their first year, or really any year afterwards, it's important to understand what it means to set a goal and the metrics and numbers that impact that goal across the entire year. So typically, as somebody who's maybe 1 or 2 years into their business, the kind of hallmark or metric of success that people are typically gearing for is the idea of, I want to run $1 million business, right? I want to hit $1 million in revenue. So what does that mean? We're breaking down some of the easy numbers. So I'm kind of starting here. There's a whole bunch of numbers in this list, but let's start at the very top and kind of explain each one as we go through. We are looking at $1 million in revenue. So one of the things here, you'll see I call it a AJS, that kind of stands for average job size. Last year, 2023, Forbes put out an article saying that the average roofing job in America last year was $11,500. So if I'm saying I want to hit $1 million in revenue, and the average job is $11,500, I have to be doing 87 average jobs in that year, right? Pretty easy math. Now, though I might be running my business for the entire year, there's really a 6-month selling period that people are really going to be targeting in on. And so I'm saying across the whole year, we're really thinking about this in terms of 6 active months of selling. So if I need to close 87 jobs in a year or / in 6 months, I really need to be closing 15 jobs per month. Now, another kind of industry standard is 25% close rate. That's what you can kind of generally expect if you are a relatively charismatic salesperson, if you know your industry, if you are showing up on time, wearing a clean shirt, that kind of stuff, really basic numbers, you should be expecting to hit about a 25% close rate. So if I'm closing at 25% and I need to hit 15 jobs per month, another little easy calculation, I would need to be doing 60 estimates per month to close 25% of them, hitting 15, right? Okay, that is a lot of work for one person to do, but it is entirely possible. If you get a good kind of marketing engine running, you get some leads coming in, whether you're door knocking or attending trade shows, you should be able to get enough leads to do 60 estimates per month. We're also making an assumption here that you might get a ton of leads in your business, but not 100% of your leads are going to translate into scheduled sales appointments. Another industry average here, so we're looking at a couple general industry averages: average job size, average close rate, and average booking rate. We're saying 50% on an average booking rate. So if I need to book and do 60 estimates per month, I need 120 leads per month to keep that going on a consistent basis, right? This is kind of the general industry standard. So if I'm starting my year, maybe it's January 1, maybe it's February 1, and I'm saying, I want to hit $1 million this year, this is your general roadmap, and we can go into more detail down the road as to what you need to do on a weekly or daily basis, but this is a good outline for the year in general. Now, you'll notice here that I've kind of highlighted 2 figures. I've got a little red rectangle around average job size and close rate. What happens if I keep exactly the same amount of effort, but I become more efficient at really the 2 most important metrics in my sales for the company? I increase my average job size and I increase my close rate. Well, I've got that drafted up in my numbers over here. So we're comparing this for numbers from 2023, right? We've got all of the information in our system. We're able to see what guys are able to do. And we're gonna swap out our average job size and we're gonna swap out our close rate and run the exact same business. So last year, our average job size was $13,271. So a pretty significant increase compared to the average. It's typically a result of good, better, best, upgrades, things like that. So if I'm running the exact same $1 million business, but I've got an increased average job size because of SumoQuote, I actually only need to close 75 jobs for the year. Okay, 75 jobs compared to 87 jobs. That's, less work for the same result. If we're crossing that, or if we're doing that in a 6-month selling period, it's actually 12.5 jobs per month instead of having to close 15. Okay, I'm being more efficient here simply by changing one number in my business. We keep the same booking rate, and we discover that in order to close 12.5 jobs, we need to be doing 32 estimates a month. All of a sudden, this becomes something that with the average trend probably would take at least 2 people to accomplish 60 estimates a month. I'm actually able to run the same business size with the amount of work that's actually pretty acceptable for one person to do. As one individual person, I can relatively easily do 32 estimates a month. And because I'm closing so much more than I need to, here I'm closing at 40%, my leads required for the estimates still being the same, I only need 64 leads per month. So I'm literally essentially cutting in half the amount of work that I need to do to hit the same numbers simply by being more efficient in 2 key elements, my average job size and my close rate. I'm closing more estimates, so I need to do less estimates essentially. If I need to do less estimates, I need less leads to fill the same amount of spots. So if we break down all the numbers, I can actually achieve the exact same result of $1 million business and do 53% less work. The amount of roofing companies that I talk to that say, hey, we've got 10 active sales guys pushing really hard. Last year we hit $1 million. That's great. I can hit $1 million with one person because I can do it in half the amount of work. But of course, now we can start scaling up and thinking, okay, if we did $1 million last year, but we increase our efficiencies in these 2 key areas, what would it look like to hit $2 million, $3 million? The exercise just becomes the same. Take the revenue, break it down to the average job size. How many jobs do we need to close per month? How many estimates, how many leads we need? It's a really concrete way of understanding what you need to do per month. Break that down into smaller increments. You could say, hey, take that exact same value, divide it by 30. That's what you need to do on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Do the math in terms of what you need to think about in terms of breaking it down. And it actually makes it really digestible. This is a simple thing to do. And all we're changing here is average job size and close rate. These are proven numbers in SumoQuote. We look at these figures all the time. And yeah, it's pretty simple. Do I want to achieve the same result and do 50% less work? Hell yeah. Why not?